Direct-to-consumer shipping. 49 states down, 1 to go. Come on, Utah. Really? You can do it. I know you can. Hey, Samra Morris of Alma Winery is a 2025 Wine Enthusiast Wine Star nominee. Shout out there. Wine bottle price in the U.S. has climbed to $52.68. Wonder if that has to do with the declining wine sales. Could be. Hey, and let's talk blind tasting. Why is it so popular? I like to do it. Anyway, we'll talk about that. All that more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Well, hello and welcome to episode 62 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, September 22nd, 2025. I'm Brett Martin from Cork and Journey, your number one source for, well, if you're not familiar with it, it's your number one source for corkage fees, as well as winery reviews, wine reviews, restaurant reviews, regional wine guides, and much, much more. And with that, let's get right on into this week's wine news. All right, Wine Business's Alex Carell with the Regulatory General Counsel for Sovos Ship Compliant basically reports that 3 states have revamped their direct-to-consumer wine shipping laws, and that has kind of expanded it now. So we talk about the 3-tier system. In most cases, wine is made by a winery, sold into distribution. Distribution sells it to restaurants. Distribution sells it into liquor stores, grocery stores, all of those kind of things. The winery itself is not allowed to sell to any of those places. But there have been, in most cases, they are able to sell to, well, directly to the consumer. So if a consumer is part of their wine club or they go on their website and they buy the wine there, you can ship the wine directly to the consumer. Well, to quote from the article, both Mississippi and Delaware, completely opposite states that have long been tantalizingly out of reach for the direct-to-consumer market, enacted completely new DTC rules, while Arkansas also finally removed a provision that had severely limited direct-to-consumer shipping in the state. With these changes, Utah is now the only state in the country without any direct-to-consumer shipping rights on its books. Not too surprising. If you've been to Utah, they have one of the stricter rules around alcohol and the purchase of alcohol. And, I haven't been there, like at a restaurant sitting at the bar having dinner, and you could order a drink from the bartender, but the bartender couldn't pass it across the counter. It had to go to a window and they'd bring it around and give it to you. Just kind of crazy things like that. I don't know if those laws still exist. It's been a minute since I've actually been to Utah and sat at a bar and had dinner or anything like that, but they have some restrictive laws. There's a whole lot of reasons for it. We don't need to go into them. Everybody knows what they are, but maybe, at least we have 49 states. And I think basically wine companies should be pretty happy with that, wine producers. And with that, we'll move on to kind of a quick little thing here. Alma Rosa Winery. Love this winery. It's Santa Rita Hills, San Ynez Valley, head over there. They've got a tasting room in Solvang. Worth checking out. Samra Morris is the winemaker over there. And hey, she's been nominated for Winemaker of the Year 2025 by the Wine Enthusiast Wine Star Awards. So big shout out to her. Love Alma Rosa Winery. We're checking out. Quick little from the article. Since joining Alma Rosa in 2019, Morris became a dynamic voice in Santa Barbara County, crafting some of Santa Rita Hills' most distinct wines. The Alma Rosa 628-acre El Habali estate, by the way. Amazing wine. They have an El Habali Pinot Noir that is just great. Encompasses 46 distinct non-contiguous vineyard blocks planted to Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Syrah, Grenache, and small amounts of Pinot Blanc and Agate. Situated on the north-facing slopes of Santa Rita Hills, El Habali was first planted in 1983 by California wine producer Richard Stanford. Anyway, big shout out to Samra. She's just she's doing some great stuff over there. So happy to see her get some recognition. She's producing some great stuff. Alrighty, and moving on with the news, back to direct to consumer here. The drinks business journalist Sarah Niche reports that the average price of a direct-to-consumer wine bottle in the U.S. has climbed to $52.68, up nearly 8% from last year. And here's the kicker, 40% higher than 2018. I'm content it's probably 40% higher than 2020 because the rapid increase in prices we've seen pre-COVID, post-COVID are insane. But I do think this lends to the decrease in, consumers actually drinking wine, buying wine, because, man, it is getting to be a bit pricey. And that's your direct-to-consumer price, which usually is the same as what your retail price is going to be. So from the article, according to the report, this has now climbed by 8% to reach $52.68, nearly 40% higher than March 2018. Much of this has to do with the ultra-premium costs of Napa Valley wines, given that the average price of a Napa wine has already reached US $108 per bottle in 2023. Soaring prices, such as those in Napa, will have helped push up the total national average. Indeed, the report shows that between January and June 2025, Napa Valley accounted for a staggering 46% of national direct-to-consumer sales value and 27% of the volume. So 27% of the wine is coming from Napa, but they're almost 50% of the cost of all that. So clearly driving that up, premiumization is driving it up, and I think there just becomes a point. I think if you're a wine drinker, you just kind of get used to I guess it's just going to be more and more expensive. I just got an email, Matthias, and shout out their 2022 Cabernet. Got 99 points from, I think, Wine Enthusiast or Decanter. Well, that's pretty good. And I went and looked at $85. I'm like, wow, that's a bargain. $85 bargain. Anyway, still a good price, but real estate in Napa is expensive. That is one of the things that's driving it up. But we're seeing this price across the board. You're seeing it in Oregon. You're seeing it in Washington. So anyway, it is what it is. Hey, and we're going to wrap up. Well, not really wrap up. We got one more story after this, but VinePair has an article on by Stephen Bradley. He writes about how blind tasting has become a viral trend in social media. We used to, us wine people would do insiders, do some blind tasting. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to one soon. I hope I am. You know who I'm talking about if you're watching, with a bunch of somms and basically restaurant people. You sit around, you blind taste. It's fun. You go through, and it really helps hone your palate. Now, it seems like you can't turn on YouTube without blind tasting after blind tasting after blind tasting. I think that the movie Somm helped really popularize it, way back. And if Fred Dahm, who founded kind of the court of master somms here in the U.S., they used to have there's a saying, he dommed it, right? Which is, he just took you can smell it. He knew exactly what it was. Anyway, from the article, blind tasting was once an insider-only practice for wine professionals looking to learn and detect wines. But the last couple of years, food and beverage publications, internet-savvy somms, and wine influencers have been posting no-frills blind tasting across social media, and they are reaching audiences other forms of wine media haven't. These new age blinds are set in humble apartments, high-end New York City restaurants, and in one case, a pontoon boat with the wine poured in red solo cups. As the wine outlets have gotten into the trend, it's difficult to see past. Wine Folly posts guess the wine carousels. Wine Enthusiast splashes wine in contestants' faces to guess. Well, I haven't seen that, but what I have seen is some pretty cool blinds. I think it's fascinating. My palate is just, but it's fun to get it right. It's fun to say, hey, this is old world. This is new world. This is probably from here. Going to the various characteristics, honing it down as to what possible varietal is. And the only way you get good at it is you have to taste a lot. And you have to taste a lot of different wines. And you have to keep deep notes on everything you've tasted. And you have to commit that to memory. It is a lot. And it takes a lot of skill, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And there are some people that are absolutely amazing at it. And I love it. So anyway, glad to see the trend going. It's a lot of fun. And hey, does it get people drinking more wine? Let's hope so. And we're going to wrap up this week's news with the San Francisco Chronicle has an article on the best kid-friendly wineries in Napa and Sonoma. No. Just say no. Why? Don't need the article. I think the parents might need to, maybe Child Protective Services needs to come by. No, I don't need kids in my wineries in Napa and Sonoma. Now, maybe you disagree, but no, it's not a place for them. It's like, hey, let me take my kid to Key West and walk down Bourbon Street with him. No. I mean, or Duval. let me take my kid to Duval Street. Sorry. Bourbon Street, same thing. Bourbon Street, New Orleans. No, don't do it. Let me take my kid to Las Vegas. No. Anyway, and don't take your kid to wineries. Not just Napa and Sonoma, anywhere. That's for adults. We go there. We're having some wine. We're enjoying it. No. So I'm not even going to talk about the article. Anyway, with that, let's get to our wine and winery of the week. All right, we're going to go to Chianti, to Tuscany, to Villa a Sesta. This was not a planned stop for us. We were driving down a road, and I said, winery, boom. And it's like, squirrel. And we pulled right on in. Very, very nice, lovely, beautiful indoor-outdoor seating, decent wines. Price per tasting, $10, not Napa, $100, $10. I think we went through 5 or 6 wines. Roberto Chiani is the technical director. It's a pretty decent little property. We went through them. We had a 100% Sangiovese, 90 points. We did a Chianti Classico Reserva, which is 92% Sangiovese, 8% Cabernet Sauvignon, 92 points. A Toscano Rosso, which is 100% Merlot, that we came in at 92 points. We're just sitting there tasting through. It was just lovely, and we've got a shipment of this coming to us. I've got so much wine coming from Italy and France over the next few months when it gets cooled down. But hey, if you're there, it's kind of out in the countryside a little bit. But if you're in Chianti Classico, you must stop in here. Well worth it, and give it a shot. And the wine of the week, we're going to go to Napa, and we're going to talk about one of those super expensive wines. So this is Latour, private reserve. So BV, 2021 Biol Vineyards. Well, what can I say? A absolutely fantastic wine. I did not pay $170 for this. I was actually to pick it up for around $98, and got picked up a case when I saw the price. This was Wine Spectator's number 2 wine of the year. It's 98 points. It's ridiculous. It's 2021, one of the best vintages Napa's ever had. If you can get your hands on a bottle, get your hands on a bottle, because it is just ridiculous. It's Cabernet Sauvignon with a little bit of Petit Verdot. Man, it's just perfectly done. You cannot go wrong. So if you can find it, the problem is when Wine Spectator basically pulls up and says, hey, I give this the number 2 wine of the year, they sell out. You can't find them anywhere. So I had it before then. So that's why I think I got it for 98 instead of 170, which is currently about what you can find it for. But if you can find it, you can afford it, give it a shot. And with that, let's move on to our restaurant and Uncorked of the week. All right, going back to Houston, going to go to Potente. This is in downtown Houston, right by the convention center. Kind of hard to miss. It's a high-end Italian, and it's owned by the Houston Astros owner, Jim Crane. And man, oh man, you cannot go wrong. This place is absolutely fantastic. The wine list is fantastic. It is expensive. It is $100 plus per person. It is 5 stars. But if you're in Houston, you're downtown, you're by the convention center, this is definitely one of those places that is a can't miss experience. Highly, highly, highly recommend it if you are in the Houston area. People always say, Brett, you're always giving these great restaurants that you recommend. Do you want me to do a show where I go, wow, here's a restaurant. It really sucked. Don't go to it. We don't review those. No, they just go into the trash bin. We go there and we're like, well, this isn't worth our time. It's not worth anybody's time. Maybe I should. We thought we should maybe have a list of restaurants we went to but didn't review, and you know what this means. I probably should do that, but I didn't. But anyway, here's a great one. No corkage allowed. Texas, like we talked about a million times, hit or miss there. No outside alcohol, so no corkage whatsoever. But anyway, check it out if you are down there. That is going to wrap up yet another episode of This Week Uncorked. As always, please stop by. subscribe to us on YouTube. That's right, stop by YouTube and subscribe to us. Follow us on your favorite social media platform. And you really got to watch that great interview we did with Remy Jean from Chateau Lenoir. It is a lot of fun and really, really good. Had a great time doing it. Until next week, everybody. Cheers.